Jason Aaron and Luca Maresca return to the Vampire Nation as Dracula sets forth his demands to make his new home of Chernobyl a legitimate nation, with the only thing standing in his way being the Avengers and the Daywalker Blade. Jason Aaron finally returns to the vampire story he set up many moons ago and does a great job moving it into where I assumed it was going to go, which was Dracula making vampires a legitimate nation and people. Apart from the vampire storyline, the issue felt a little too busy, mainly thanks to it being a follow-up to the multiple storylines the book has been through recently, like the Phoenix Force one, and it was shoring up a lot of the plots before Heroes Reborn takes over in the summer. Because of this, the book felt a little bloated and was constantly shifting between all these plot lines like the vampires and the Phoenix Force and the Squadron Supreme making a reappearance. I did like that we got to see a day in the life of Black Panther and just how much T'Challa does as a nation's king and as an Avenger. Blade's status quo shift here was quite fun to watch play out, but I'm a little disappointed we're going to have to wait until probably after Heroes Reborn to get to see more of Sheriff Blade, unless him becoming the sheriff is what leads into that event, being that he will be the only one who knows everyone was an Avenger in that world and he's the main character in that series. So I'm intrigued to see how this sort of spins into Heroes Reborn. Luca Maresca took over from Javier Garron, and like I've said in other reviews, I always appreciate it when they get similar artists to work together since there is no stylistic whiplash between issues. Luca also got to design some new costumes for Cap and Iron Man, making Tony's a little bit more like his solo series suit while giving Cap a more armoured, heavier look for the Chernobyl mission, which was a simple yet to the point design and I really liked it. The Avengers issue 45 was a good, if bloated, issue that balanced out multiple ongoing plot lines, shoring them all up before we head into Marvel's big Heroes Reborn summer event. While I like a look in the day in the life of Black Panther, I do wish it was a little bit more laser focused on one plot point than multiple ones, especially when it won't be a while before things pick up again in this book. I'm going to give this issue a 7.5 out of 10. The Avengers issue 45 heads to the Battle of Nole, where T'Challa's voice posits the idea that what if we are Ghost Rider and it's the morning after an epic battle to save the universe? One might be tempted to think that they deserve a day off, but Avengers don't sleep in. The day after the invasion ends, at 4 in the morning, Captain America races down the jogging track in Avengers Mountain, beating the world record by 1 minute and 15 seconds. Steve has Mountain delete the record, wanting some jazz from the 40s played instead. The rest of the Avengers are also up early, with Carol training in the gym, She-Hulk studying up on lore in the Intergalactic Lore Library, and Tony tinkering with his armor, telling the Mountain to delete the word congratulations from his systems and instead play the exasperated sighs of his father. Thor meanwhile drunkenly returns home from Asgard after defeating Fin Fang Foom, wanting the system to delete his blood alcohol levels from its databank. Robbie Reyes meanwhile plays around with the Hell Charger, replaying a message from Gabe who tells him that he loves his big brother and wants him to have a good day. Blade meanwhile trains in the Mandroid combat range, easily slashing through the targets as T'Challa commences a meeting, learning today's schedule as he battles a holographic version of himself. He tells the Mountain to email all of the Avengers their post-fight performance grades, citing what they need to improve on, if there actually is anything to improve on. The Mountain AI continues to rattle off T'Challa's extremely busy day, including a security meeting that T'Challa wants to bring Black Widow, Luke Cage, Odin, and Vision in on. Eventually, he's told of a meeting with a 9-year-old cancer patient, telling the Mountain to move back all his meetings since he's going to the hospital early as he takes down the hologram, who turns out to be his father, who asks if he's governing with his head or with his heart. T'Challa says that it's a little bit of both, just as he taught him. His father tells him well done, taking his leave as T'Challa gets a feeling he's about to get a phone call. Sure enough he does, and it's from Nighthawk of the Squadron Supreme, who blames T'Challa for this mess, and it's his fault the world's greatest mass murderer fell into the hands of the Russians. T'Challa says that he's been a bit busy defeating a god, which Nighthawk was quick to say was also his fault as well, since they never should have gotten involved, since once again all the Avengers have done is make the world more dangerous for Americans. T'Challa wants him to get to the point of the call, told that this is about Dracula, who still has friends in higher places. T'Challa tells the Mountain to rearrange his day now, as at Chernobyl, Dracula tells the gathered delegates when the King in Black came to Earth, he and his people stood at their sides in the battle despite the long history of persecution from humans, but instead of being looked at as victims of a simple immune deficiency, they were seen as monsters. Despite all of this and them helping everyone and them risking their lives, and they won, and in return the people were slaughtered and betrayed by the one who fought at their side, the Avenger known as Blade. He asks the people if this is the world they sought to save from Knull. Dracula says that it's time for rebuilding and all he wants is a chance to enjoy freedom and a country to call their own there in Chernobyl. T'Challa watches the proclamation, telling Richmond that he's a congressman and he should have been able to stop this, but Nighthawk says that this was Dracula's plan all along and he wants sovereignty and he's going to get it. Blade doesn't take the news well when T'Challa goes to talk to him about it, saying Dracula is demanding a seat on the UN Council for the Shadow Colonel, his son, among other things like blood deliveries and the release of vampiric political prisoners like the Hellhound they still have locked up in the brig from their first encounter with the Legion of the Unliving. Blade knows that they can't give in to any of these since they are vampires, and if one fox kills another, it's not because they're protecting their henhouse, it wants the chickens for itself. Blade says that they can have their countries, since at least now he'll know where he can go and kill them all. T'Challa says that would be declaring war if he did that as an Avenger, but Blade says he'll do it as a vampire hunter, quitting the team. Blade leaves as T'Challa tries to convince him to stay, saying that there is a chance they can make a few demands of Dracula himself, like they'll make him feed on synthetic blood and something else that would require Eric to not leave, knowing that they need him and he will need them as well, since T'Challa knows that Eric wants to show the world that vampires don't have to be like Dracula and they can be heroes too. Blade asks what the demand is as Robbie meets with Echo, wondering if he calls her Phoenix or Echo now. Maya says that Echo or Maya will be fine since she's being tested on whether or not she should be continuing using the Phoenix in the first place. Robbie knows that she's the one who decides that as he gives the woman some food, knowing T'Challa would have often forgotten about her. Maya talks about how everyone is afraid of her, even Black Panther and Thor, and she understands why since she's seen what the Phoenix has done to Earth before and shows her when she sleeps, which is why she doesn't sleep anymore. Robbie says that he's a night owl as well, and Maya wonders why he's the only one not afraid of her. Robbie tells her that he's seen what she sees in the fire and knows it's not her, recognizing the point she's at in her life, and it's one where he's been, and their people go way back, and there have been lots of riders like him over the years, even more than Phoenixes and Black Panthers, and whether they were seen as the hand of God or the slave of the devil, none of them wind up happy or healthy or sane. Robbie tells her that the spirit rides them hard and leaves them covered in gasoline, so Maya asks why he keeps doing it. Robbie explains despite being relatively new to this, he's helped save the world at least 6 times, and that 6 times he stopped someone from killing his brother Gabe. So if he's got to melt his own skin off to make sure Gabe is safe, it's a price worth paying, hoping Maya has someone worth burning for as well. Maya says that it's her father, or at least his memory, and she can use the memory to make up for her own sins. Robbie changes into Ghost Rider, giving her a cheeseburger and welcoming her to the Avengers, but Maya can't read his skeletal lips, but knows what he's saying, thanking the hero for his kind words. Days later, Dracula is delivered a shipment of blood. His people surprised the world is giving in to their master's demands. Dracula wants it fed to the starving masses since they will feed on some sweeter prizes, as Rat Bomber says they have visitors. The Avengers soon arrive, returning the Hellhound to the Vampire Nation as a loudspeaker tells them that the border guards will take possession of the prisoner, that being Blade, who will face vampire justice. Black Panther says that the nation is granted its sovereignty, with some conditions however. Captain America knows that they will tear Blade apart, but Iron Man and Carol are more worried about the vampires. Dracula however rejects the conditions of the deal, saying that they are subject to his will here. T'Challa knows that Wakanda doesn't see it that way, and if they wish to join the UN, he will respect the rule of law and order. Dracula doesn't know what he's talking about, so Blade says he's talking about him, saying Dracula has his own nation now, and what comes with it is him, since he'll be the first face Dracula sees at dusk and the last thing he sees at dawn. And if the vampire people get out of line, they will answer to him, the man who carries full authority of the Avengers and the UN. Dracula says he's out of his mind, but Blade says he's not, revealing he is now the sheriff of Vampire Town.